The Catholic Echo podcast is a weekly podcast discussing what's happening now in the Catholic Diocese of Youngstown. Bishop David Bonnar and members of our diocesan community discuss your burning spiritual questions. The Catholic Echo podcast is produced by the Communications Department of the Diocese of Youngstown with support from the Annual Diocesan Appeal. It can be found on catholicecho.org, Facebook, and YouTube. Your host is Dennis Biviano.
Hello and welcome to the Catholic Echo podcast. Today we are discussing the upcoming 3rd Annual Bishops Golf Classic, which benefits seminarian formation and other needs. It takes place Monday, June 30th at the Lake Club in Poland. Joining me now to talk about the event is Bishop David Bonnar. Thanks so much for joining us today.
It's my honor.
Now, the Annual Golf Classic, for those learning about it for the first time, began in 2023. 18 holes of golf, lunch, dinner. Tell me about the event and what you look forward to each year.
This will be our 3rd event, and the first one we did was in Kensington. The second one was at Youngstown Country Club, and then this one this year is going to be at the Lake Club. The great thing about living here is that there's so many wonderful options when it comes to wanting to put on a golf outing. So this kind of developed as an opportunity for a fundraiser, and funds, yes, but fun too, and about building community, but also building a culture of awareness for vocations. It takes a village to form our men for the priesthood. And by that, I mean not only the formators, but also the costs of this work and this effort. So the golf outing is an opportunity for us to raise some funds that can help them in their journey along the way. Because remember, they're not working, they're not employed. There are costs that build up in their individual lives. Certainly nothing extravagant because we're training them to embrace a simplicity of life. But nonetheless, there are just challenges that can impinge upon their financial situation. And so this is an opportunity for us to help them, but at the same time, just let the world know that we can't forget them, that we have a responsibility to form them.
I know Father Wainio has been a part of it, his family too. You have sponsorships, donations. I'm sure with that, this whole group together, it would be a challenge, to put this on if you didn't have everybody working together.
Well, like I said, it takes a village. The work of promoting vocations is a shared responsibility, and we all need to participate in that. And this golf outing is just a microcosm of that because it brings people together, even people who aren't even Catholic, and invites them to consider this cause. We're grateful for all of our sponsorships and donors and participants because it does help us to make a difference.
I have to ask you a little bit about your golf game. Have you played the Lake Club before?
I've played the Lake Club a handful of times. Okay. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. The last time I played it with a priest friend of mine from Pittsburgh, and he has these amazing eyes. And at one point we were going, I think, to the 18th hole, and he said, "Look up at that tree, look at that owl." And I never would have seen it myself, but this guy's a little bit younger than I am. And, that's the great thing about golf. It's not just about swinging the club, hitting the little white ball, but it's the camaraderie, the conversations, and just absorbing the beauty of nature.
So you have some time to get out to the driving range and working on the short game as well?
Well, I need a miracle when it comes to my putting.
Oh, come on.
And the irony is, last year I was on the 9th hole at the Youngstown Country Club, and I sunk this long putt, and Dana Balish from WFMJ.
That was the viral video I was about to say, yeah.
Yes, he was there. He caught it, and it probably would have been on the Golf Channel that night, but I'm not in the world of golf. My golf game, I go to have fun. It's an escape. It's also an opportunity for me to reconnect with people, and I don't get upset or, get angry or throw clubs or anything like that. I do get frustrated from time to time, especially when it comes to putting, and that's probably the weakest part of my game, but I can drive and I can chip. I just can't putt.
Well, I would imagine it's just so nice to get everyone together outside the classroom or outside the church setting. It really a chance to socialize. Maybe folks that not really talked to one another before get to know each other.
It's a community builder, indeed. It's been a wonderful way for me to get to know more and more people from within the community just through their participation in the event, and just so grateful for those who are part of this.
Anything else you want seminarians to take away from this event?
Well, I hope that they can appreciate the game of golf and see it as a wonderful outlet for them. As a priest, it's so important that we take time to recreate and be renewed. And as a young priest, I was stationed in Newcastle, right over the border, and Newcastle is kind of like mini Youngstown. There's a lot of Italians, there's a lot of good food, and there's lots of golf courses.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really where I picked up the game. I mean, I had played a little bit prior to that, but I really got into it, and I got to know parishioners through that. So it's a great outlet.
And speaking of former seminarians, on June 7th, we had the ordination of Father Travis Seagraves. Long time coming. He's our only representation this year, but what has your message been to him?
Well, I think I spoke to him a lot prior to the ordination, and I just encouraged him to embrace the moment, to live the moment, and to know how quickly it flies by. Not just the ordination itself, but just the whole journey of priesthood. You know, he's going to wake up and at one point he's going to say, oh my gosh, I've been a priest 5 years already. Because you get so immersed in people's lives that you lose the sense of time. You know, God just invites you deeper and deeper into people's lives, and it goes quickly. So I just, encouraged him to live in the moment, to embrace it, and to know that just as he arrived at the altar, he didn't arrive at the altar alone, even though he was the only one being ordained that day. I mean, there were so many people that made the journey with him, but he doesn't leave the altar alone either. And he takes with him his patron, St. John Vianney, who is the patron saint of parish priests. He takes our Blessed Mother, who is the mother of priests. And he takes with him now the presbyterate of the Diocese of Youngstown, who are now his brothers.
And he was in Ashtabula for several years. Talk about his new community he's going to experience.
He's going to be stationed in Massillon, Divine Mercy Parish, as well as St. Philip and James in Canal Fulton. And he has a great pastor who will show him the way, Father John Sheridan. But the interesting thing about Massillon is not only is it a newly merged parish and doing very, very well, but it is our 5th intentional Hispanic community. And Father Seagraves spent a summer in El Salvador last year as an immersion experience. He speaks Spanish, and so he's going to bring a lot of hope to the people in Massillon who are just alive in the faith, the Hispanics there. And he'll do just the same at Canal Fulton at St. Philip and James, which is also a wonderful parish.
Bishop Bonnar, thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck on the golf course.
Thank you so much. Just pray for good weather.
Amen. Coming up when we return, I'll speak with Father William Wainio, a big part of this yearly event, and a seminarian just a couple of years ago. He'll talk about his experience helping to plan and participate in the Golf Classic. The Catholic Echo podcast returns after this short break. It's time for Patron Saints of the Diocese of Youngstown with your Bishop, David J. Bonnar.
Saints Philip and James were 2 of the original 12 apostles. Philip asked Jesus, "Where are we to find enough bread so these people may eat?" James was the brother of another apostle, Jude, also known as Thaddeus. He was stoned to death as Bishop of Jerusalem. Both of their relics were brought to Rome together in 560 and are housed in the Basilica of the 12 Holy Apostles. Philip is a patron saint of pastry chefs and bakers. James is a patron saint of pharmacists and Uruguay. Together, they are considered patron saints of hatters, as well as Saints Philip and James Parish and School in Canal Fulton, Ohio. Their feast day is May 3rd, so a happy feast day of Saints Philip and James to our friends in Canal Fulton. Saints Philip and James, pray for us.
Did you know that the Catholic Echo magazine is delivered 10 times per year to 52,000 Catholic households in northeastern Ohio? That's more than 150,000 people. And the Catholic Echo website, catholicecho.org, has been averaging 30,000 views per month since it launched in February 2023. Advertise your business, special event, or service with the Catholic Echo in print or online. Email catholicecho@youngstowndiocese.org. Advertising discounts are available for Catholic institutions as well as for businesses that commit to 5 or 10 issues in a year. Email catholicecho@youngstowndiocese.org or visit the advertising tab at catholicecho.org for more information.
When storms hit, we are there to rebuild. As our neighbors age, we lighten their burdens. As our veterans adjust, we ease their transitions. In every part of the country, we are there. We are Catholic Charities. We serve millions each year regardless of their faith. We put food back on tables, unlock doors, and walk together on the road back. Help Catholic Charities serve your neighbors in need. Join us at wearethere.us.
Wondering what happened to timely Catholic news in the Diocese of Youngstown? It's at catholicecho.org. There you'll find recent stories about Catholic life in all 6 counties of the Diocese of Youngstown, plus recent videos, podcasts, and even national and global news. You'll find it all at catholicecho.org. Sign up for the email newsletter while you're there to have Catholic news delivered to your inbox. Welcome back to the Catholic Echo podcast. Joining us now to talk a little bit more about the 3rd annual Bishops Golf Classic is Father William Wainio, the parochial vicar of St. Patrick in Kent, University Parish Newman Center in Kent, and also Immaculate Conception in Ravenna. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here.
Now, you first became involved in the Bishops Golf Classic while in the seminary. I know you've helped get sponsors and fundraising for the event. Why is this an important event for seminarians?
Yeah, I think it's an important event because not only is it a chance for us to raise some money to help financially our seminarians, but it's also a chance for the greater people of the diocese, the greater diocese, to come together and to meet the seminarians. I think that's one of the things we were lacking in. People see our faces on posters and pray for the seminarians with the prayer cards, and they know who they are, but they've never maybe met them in person, shook their hand, put a name with a face type of deal. So this was an event where we could raise a little bit of money to help support them and their education, but also bring people together for fellowship, for a fun game of golf, and they could get to know the seminarians.
As you mentioned a little bit, the funds raised help offset the cost of seminarian tuition and other financial needs. Education in the seminary could be quite costly, upwards of $30,000 per seminarian, so it really helps them out.
It does. And you also, I think it's important for people to understand most college students, they go to college, they have a part-time job somewhere, or they work, on campus. Seminarians, they're not allowed to have a part-time job other than in the summer, right? So throughout the year, they really are without work, they're without an income, but thankfully the diocese has resources that can help, for personal needs and car repairs and things like that. So this money is not only for tuition and room and board, which is part of it, but also for any personal needs the seminarians might have, any car troubles, anything like that. They can reach out to the vocation office and say, is there some funds to help me? More times than most, we can help them with that because of the generosity of people across the diocese.
What are some of your fondest memories? Tell me why it's such a great bonding event outside the church.
So last year was my fondest memory. This is our 3rd year. Last year we were at the Youngstown Country Club, and I was standing just outside the clubhouse, and I watched Bishop Bonnar putt or hit, whatever. I'm not really a golfer, but I watched him take this shot and sink this shot, and it was just everyone on his team went wild. He went wild. I was excited for him because clearly something went well, and it's a great memory because not only does it show the joy that can come from the game, but also we are so grateful in our diocese that our bishop is so supportive of so many things, but especially our seminarians. He comes out, he brings usually 2 or 3 foursomes of golfers from his family and his friends, and he brings them and he golfs himself. It was a great memory last year to see that, to see how excited he was, how well it was for his team. It's one of the things that I'll remember.
Now, what's it mean to your family? Because you guys all have been helping out over the years too.
Yeah, my family is wonderful. They not only support me, but the seminarians. And this golf outing was kind of my crazy idea from its inception. And I knew that I could lean on my family, especially my aunts and uncles, my parents, my sister. I leaned on all of them for advice, how to do this. 2 of my aunts and my uncles have done golf outings before for other nonprofits. They jumped in without hesitation to help and to really, this would be good, that would be good. It's just a nice sounding board, but it's also great to have them there that day to help us not only volunteer, but just to be together as a family. I encourage you, if you're a golfer and you want to golf, we would love to have you. If you're not a golfer, you'd like to volunteer, please, let us know. We might be able to use you that day.
And if you follow the diocese pages, if you follow the vocations page, you'll see QR codes that you can scan where you can make a donation. Also, folks can go to doi.org/golf. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, you can do your donation right online, www.doi.org/golf. Our first sponsorship level is $150. You get a nice hole sign So that's reasonable for some people. If that's not reasonable, if it's out of your budget, please give us a call and we can take any type of donation, any amount to help our seminarians. But also I want to throw in there that it's not just about the money, Dennis. It's also about your prayers. The prayers of the people, of the faithful across the diocese for our men studying to be priests is the best support we can give them. So just keep praying every day for our seminarians and for an increase in vocations.
Well said. Again, the third annual Bishops Golf Classic is on June 30th at the Lake Club in Poland. Now, also while we have you here, I wanted to ask you about Father Travis Seagraves. I'm sure you've got to know him over the years, being in the seminary together. What advice would you give to him? And, what can you tell us about Travis?
Sure. Father Travis is a great man. He's very spiritual. He's very intelligent. He will bless any community that he's in, and the people will be very, very blessed to have him. I think if I had to give him advice, my advice would be, when you start out anywhere, even in a new assignment as a seasoned priest, I've learned over this last year that you really just have to start by listening, opening your ear, opening your heart, listening to where people are at, meeting them where they're at, understanding, maybe their troubles or their stresses, their struggles, trying to meet them in those struggles. So really just have a listening ear and an open heart. And really, get out and meet the people. That's the biggest thing. So many of our faithful, they come to Mass, they come to extracurriculars that we do, extra things that we do outside of Mass, and that's great. But also never forget the people that maybe, they can't make it. Maybe they're in a nursing home, maybe they're homebound. We have to reach out to them too and listen to their stories and meet them where they're at and minister to them as well. So I say open ears, open heart, and meet people where they're at.
I also want to ask you about your new role in the diocese offices in downtown Youngstown. You are now with Father Chad Johnson, the co-director of the Office of Vocations. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the bishop asked if I would be willing to take on this role, and I accepted because I think it's a great idea. Bishop Bonnar would like Father Johnson and I to split the diocese in half. I'm taking on 3 counties. Father Chad is going to remain with 3 counties where we can really be more visible to our parishes, to our Catholic high schools, Catholic grade schools, be more present as priests, as vocation directors, and just be able to foster a more devout energy for vocations. It's hard when you have 6 counties, one person who also has other jobs, right? As everyone knows, the shortage of priests, none of us have just one job. So I think the bishop has a great idea here to kind of split the counties and really just try and be more visible to the people and to our young people who may be thinking about this.
Finally, I want to ask you about your blog. How long has that been going on, and what message do you hope to get across in that?
So fatherwill.org. I guess it's frwill.org. I don't know. It's been around about 2 years now. I don't really know where it started from because I'm not really a great writer. Never have been, but I always liked sharing my faith. I think part of it was I have friends and family spread all over the world, and this was a way that they could take this journey with me. And it really started when I was a deacon. So, just posting reflections, posting some of my homilies, and just really trying to stay connected with my larger supporting community that isn't, right here in town or in the area where we can get together all the time. It's another thing with social media, too. It's just, to have a positive profile, to have a positive position on social media really is something the world needs today. And it's fun to snap a picture here or post a short story there, really kind of share my own ministry with the people that continue to support me, even if they're not here in the Diocese of Youngstown.
He's being very modest. He's insightful and a very good writer, so don't listen when he tells you that.
Well, thank
Father
you.
William Wainio, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Dennis.
We also thank Bishop Bonnar as well. That is all for this week's episode of the Catholic Echo podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, CatholicEcho.org, or your favorite podcasting platform. I'm your host, Dennis Biviano. Thanks for listening, and have a blessed week.
The Catholic Echo podcast is a production of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Youngstown. Have a blessed day, and may God be with you.